You keep getting dotted and ran through every single game in college football 27 because you haven't mastered the 5 easy defensive tips that I'm breaking down in this video. From the best settings to use, the best blitzes, and even the best custom adjustments to stop the run, I'm going to show you everything I know, and I guarantee you it'll transform your defense if you stay all the way to the end. I will warn you though, if you skip out on just one of the 5 defensive tips I'm breaking down in this video, it could be the reason you're still getting torched, and I wouldn't want that to happen to you. So let's jump right into it. The first thing you need to have on defense is a way to get the quarterback on the ground in a hurry with a glitch blitz. Let me show you. Alright, so we're going to come into dime 3-2 here, and our play is going to be edge blitz 3. Alright, and so really what we're going to do here, this is from the 4-2-5 man pressure, the 4-3 playbook, some others, but those are the ones that I use. So what we're going to do here is we're going to press our defense. We are going to, I would recommend you put your safety, Bray Hubbard, in a deep half and put your outside corner in a cloud flat. So it looks like this. Then you are going to press your right stick to the left and then your left stick to the right to shift your defensive line to the right like this. And then you're going to drop this edge rusher right here into a hook. So now it's going to look like this. All right. So this is what the defense looks like, and then I would press right stick, press RB and then right stick up to pass commit. So now this is what your defense looks like, shifting your D-line right, putting that safety in a deep half, dropping the edge rusher into a hook, and pass committing. But really what you're going to see now is the reason why I said that you want to put this safety in a deep half is because you want him to do a better job of defending the seam. You're going to be able to get really quick and easy pressure right here off of the right side, but you want to be able to take away quick seam passes. So we're going to take this snap, and you're just going to see how you're going to be able to get easy pressure right there off of the edge. Sometimes it's right through the middle even, but it's like what you're just going to see is we're easily able to defend this. So our guy comes in free right here off of the edge, and then we're able to actually guard the tight end seam. I'm going to show you next time what happens when you don't put your safety in a deep half, but now they can't just hike through this seam pass because my safety's here, to actually guard it. So again, set it up again, press, this time again, I'm not going to put the safety in a deep half. We're going to shift our defensive line to the right. We're going to drop this guy into a hook, and really what you're just going to see is when they put him on a shriek, this is just going to be a walk-in. Like literally the easiest pass ever. Well, they had a perfect hit right there, but that seam is now wide open. So you want to make sure that you take that away, because if you don't, your blitz is going to work. Like you see how he's about to come in free, but they just have this opening right here, to be able to hit. So you have to make sure that you're actually doing a good job of taking away the seam so they don't have anywhere to go with the ball and they're actually eating a sack like you saw on the first play. But we go with it again here. We're going to shift our defense line to the right, put that safety in that zone. We're going to put our corner in a cloud. We're going to press, and then we're going to drop this guy into a hook. So now it looks like this. You really don't have to do anything with your user. You can pretty much just go lurk whatever routes that they happen to have on the field. I would make sure I jump out here and take away the running back. But, I mean, it's just going to be very consistent. You can switch stick around as well to take away other routes that could be breaking open down the field. And even if they block their running back, this is going to be a DB against a halfback, right? This might even be a safety. And he's just going to run through this guy when he steps up to block. But you're able to see how this guy blocks nobody. So they're essentially blocking 4 against 4, and yet we're still able to get a guy to come in completely untouched. So this is going to be one of the best blitzes you need to be utilizing here from really dime 3-2, edge blitz 3 to be able to get easy edge pressure and make sure that you're also defending the seam. Alright, having a great blitz like I showed you is fantastic, but if you're not using the best settings, your players are going to be out of position and you're really going to struggle on defense. Let me show you the best settings you need to be using here in CFB 27. Alright, so the setting we're going to be breaking down here is going to be your man coverage bunch check. Alright, so you see how I currently have it on default, which is lock. Each defender locks onto their assigned receiver with no switching. So that basically means whoever shows up on the play art as who they're guarding, that's who they just end up taking. So the problem that gets created with that though is these types of route concepts where they have their tight end on an out and they have Rodgers, the outside bunch receiver, on a drag. So we take the snap, and you see how that's a perfect example. That nickel corner that outside corner has to try to fight all the way through the bunch on a drag route that's running across the field, and it's going to be tremendously difficult for him to do. Right, so we're able to see he's an off man. Like, this is such a simple play, but it's just taking advantage of the concept. He bumps twice, and he has absolutely no chance to guard that, right? And so that's going to happen time and time again. That was off-man coverage, even if they press, right? He might do a better job, but he's still probably just going to lose his rep off of getting bumped. Yep, he gets bumped, and that drag is now wide open. So when you guys are running man coverage against bunch formations, they're going to try to confuse your guys and try to get them to bump just like this. Like, it's going to be a huge challenge for you to be able to defend. Now, luckily, there's a setting called point combo, which is going to help you actually defend in man coverage better. So come into man coverage, turn the setting onto point combo, which basically means number 2, the middle bunch receiver gets locked onto, and then the other 2 guys get passed off based on wherever they go. So we're going to come back into cover 1 hole now, and these guys, it's not guaranteed though. It's not guaranteed that they actually lock it down, but if they call something like this now, you're still going to see the same lock because it's based on logic. Whoever goes outside gets guarded by the outside corner, right? So whoever goes outside gets guarded by Lee, and whoever goes inside gets guarded by Sab. So it's like if they call this, no one switches. There's no switching. They just guard whoever goes inside and outside. And yes, he still can get bumped, but it's not like you're having to chase across the formation. So that's how it would already be. But if we call the same route concept where we have the tight end going outside and the slot receiver going inside, now they're going to switch assignments. So now you're going to see how Sab guards that, and he guards it a lot better than the outside corner did on the previous plays. Now understand that he can still get bumped, he can still give it up, but it's going to be way less likely because this guy's not having to fight through as much traffic as this defender would in order to guard that. And then he's still able to do a great job blocking onto this out route and doing a good job of taking it away. So overall, this is going to be a defensive setting that's really going to help you out when you're running man coverage, using your man coverage bunch check on point combo, because man coverage is really good in this game. You're going to want to use it, but if you have your players going in all different directions and bumping into each other, it's going to be really challenging for you to run at a high level. Alright, so if you found this breakdown helpful so far of these first 2 defensive tips, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be breaking down college football 27 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better all year long, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. If you're serious about transforming your defense here in college football 27, you want to start locking down in cut in your dynasty when you're playing Road to the CFP, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab my brand new 4-3 defensive ebook by joining CF University. It includes that defensive ebook. Everything is fully written out with videos, screenshots, the custom adjustments, and you get access to all of my updated tips like the ones in this video to help you start locking down really on both sides of the ball. So what are you thinking? Join CFU today if you want to win more games all year long, and let's jump right back into the video. Because there's a new feature here in college football 27 that allows you to set up your defense really in the main menu, and it's super effective when you're playing against edge runs, which are really good here in CFP 27. Let me show you the best custom adjustment to be able to stop stretch runs. Alright, so this custom adjustment that I'm talking about here to be able to contain outside runs, I call it the outside zone run defense macro. Alright, so what we're going to do here is scroll down, take a look. So we're going to make sure we have our gap integrity on conservative so that our defenders are really in the right spots and they're not trying to make splash plays but also giving up big plays. So make sure your gap integrity on conservative. We're going to keep scrolling until we find our stunt. The stuntage you want to make sure that you're using against outside runs is the El Paso 4-man stunt. I'm going to show you here on the field why, but turn the El Paso 4-man stunt on. You're going to shift your linebackers in the direction that you think that they're running. So I have it on right here, but if they were running left, you would just change it at the line of scrimmage to shift left. So shift your linebackers in the direction they're running. Then you are going to make sure that might be all that's built into this custom adjustment, because it is kind of simple where the rest of it is, yeah, that's pretty much it there. But everything else is going to be you at the line of scrimmage making the adjustment. So make sure you're shifting where you think they're running. You're going to make sure that you're using the El Paso 4-man stunt, and you have your gap integrity on conservative. But let me show you exactly how that looks on the field. Alright, so like I said, this is going to work against pretty much any outside run that you face here in this game. But what we're going to do is come into any cover 6 play. I like doing this most from nickel over. We're going to make sure we're calling cover 6, and then we're going to scroll down. Now, I don't have this macro in my set of macros anymore. I benched it, but you could just put it in yours and it would be right there for you along with like all these other 10 that you have set. But I'm just going to, set it up at the line of scrimmage with quick adjustment. adjustments is really not that bad. So we're going to call the El Paso 4-man stunt. We are going to shift, like I said, our linebackers in the direction we think they're running, and we're in cover 6. So we're going to take this inside quarter safety. We're going to drag him right here over the center, right? We're going to stand about right here, and whichever direction they go, that's where we go with our user to set the edge. Against inside runs in this game, you're trying to shoot the gap and dive tackle the ball carrier in the backfield. Against edge runs, you're trying to set the edge with your user and force them to cut back into your other defenders, because if you don't set the edge, there's no guarantee that any of your other defenders do it. So really what we're going to see is we take Sab, they're running in this direction, we go to set the edge, and you see exactly that. They go cut back into one of our other defenders because they realize they're not going to beat you out here to the edge. And clearly this is the computer, but it's like a user would do the same thing. A smart user with good run stick would see this gap right here and try to get to it. But luckily for us, it closes really quickly. A guy gets off his block, and we're able to make that play. So understand that you do give up the possibility to allow them to cut back because you're setting the edge. But it's way better to do that than allow them to get all the way out here. Now, you could also be patient with your user too. It's not like you do have defenders out there, so although I said there's no guarantee that someone sets the edge, right, there's a possibility that they do. So if you want to just, contain the cutback, you could do that. So that's where it would be like you would be patient with your user instead of like going all out. But we're going to take the snap again, and this time I'm just going to be able to see that gap open up, and I'm going to be able to make that play. So this is going to work against I-Form Hulk, which was kind of patched a couple of days ago, but it still can be effective if you don't know the run defense for it. But more so, this is going to work against every outside run in the game, where we take the snap, we have our custom stunt. A custom stunt basically is going to loop this defender through, allow him to get in there faster. Like you see how he comes in basically free to take away the cutback if my user wasn't here. And so then we're just going to be able to bring this guy down. But overall, this, using the El Paso 4-man custom stunt here from really any, 4-man defense like nickel over, you're shifting your linebackers in the direction they're running, and you're doing a great job of just standing right here over the offensive line with your user and trying to set the edge or take away the cutback lane. It's going to make it really, really easy for you to stop basically every outside run in the game with one custom adjustment. Alright, before I jump into those final 2 defensive tips that you're absolutely not going to want to miss here in College Football 27, because they're going to transform your defense, I wanted to remind you to go down below and hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one who's going to be breaking down CFB 27 tips and tricks just like this every single day all year long, even as you've seen all your other favorite creators deviate off to Madden 27. So what are you thinking? Go down below, hit that subscribe button today for daily College Football 27 tips and tricks right here on this channel, and let's jump to those final 2 tips. Alright, the next thing I want to break down is actually a pro defensive trick that not enough players know about because it was just added back into college football this year in 27. Let me introduce you to the crossman feature. Alright, so the crossman can be done from basically any defense in the game, so we're going to come into cover 3 sky, but really the reason why this is so valuable, and I lied, we're actually just going to come into Tampa 2 to do this just so I can show you, but the reason why this is so good is because this is a very tough route concept to defend. A crosser, a return, a drag, and a shriek. Right, so how would we stop this, right? Because we could certainly take away the drag, but it's like that crosser is open. Obviously, you're going to need time to throw, but it's like you could throw that crosser. But that's really where the crossman is going to help you out so much, because basically you can get any player on the field now to play man coverage on any other player. So in previous years, the man that was guarding whichever receiver, if you wanted to man him up, like if you wanted to man up RB, you could only do it with a player that's on the same side as him. So I can only man up my slot corner onto that man, right? So I can man up my slot corner and we would be perfectly fine. But it's like this slot corner could still get beat across the field on a crosser. One, because he has outside leverage right here and the guys are running inside. But it's also like he might just not be a man coverage type of guy and he might get beat. Exactly kind of what you see right there, where I could throw that with a good freeform. So it's like, to be the most consistent, this is a great new feature here called cross-manning, where now we can take this corner and man him up on to the receiver across the field. right? So now what you're going to see is I'm going to put a hard flat on the left side, but now this nickel or this safety, he's going to be guarding the receiver on the crossing route across the field, and he's more consistently going to do a better job of guarding it. I'm not saying he'll never lose his rep or he'll never get beat, but more often than not, he's going to guard this because he's already over there. Like, and the great thing that I like about this feature is they don't let the receivers cross their face. And what I mean by that is, in previous years, what would happen if you tried to do this? This guy would run over here, but then he would just run too far to the right, and then just allow him to cross his face and get around him and get to the left faster. But he stops, he gets under control, and then guards the crosser and carries it across the field. Another example would be if you're trying to stop a tight end drag, right? Where in previous years, this wouldn't be, it would be pretty challenging to defend. But now you're able to take this nickel and man him up onto the tight end just like this. And again, he's more often than not he's not gonna let him cross his face. He's going to guard it, and then he's going to carry it across the field a lot better than you would be able to if you were to just man him up with a linebacker who's standing like right over him. Like if I man up Reese, right, which again, Reese could do a good job, but he's more often going to get beat across the formation because drag routes beat man in this game. Right, so they could throw that and pick up yards. And now that time he broke it up. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. Man coverage is variable. You will get different results. But the best practice is to cross man these guys now. Man a guy up from across the field to really, also, that is really confusing for the offense. So like if you see like a crosser open in the middle, like I'm going to shade underneath, right? I'm going to shade underneath so like my zones play underneath. So that really just means that they could just hike throw this. They could just hike throw a crosser. Once they see it gets over the top of the hooks, they're just throwing it. But now you're going to see how we're actually guarding that crosser now. Like, I'm telling you, you could step up in the pocket, you see the hook zones come down, then you just throw the crosser. But then there's another defender coming from across the field to actually guard this crosser and do a great job of taking it away. So overall, the crossman feature is one that you absolutely need to add to your defensive bag and defensive arsenal because it's going to help you confuse the offense and stop a lot of their crossing patterns. Alright, but that fifth and final defensive tip that I'm going to break down here in this video is actually what I call the foundation of defense, because if you can't make adjustments at a lightning speed and be able to adjust on the fly, you're really going to struggle against really good offensive players who are flipping, audibling, and doing a whole bunch of stuff to misalign your defense. Let me show you how to master the new quick adjustments here in CFB 27. Alright, so there's so many different situations where quick adjustments are really important for you to get better with, but one of the most common ones is when they're audibling. Alright, so you come out in cover 2 because you want to run cover 2 against their bunch, right? You think cover 2 is a good defense, which it is, maybe to defend bunch. But when they audible to trips, now you're kind of screwed, because if they just call verticals, for example, first of all, you have to flip your defense if they audible, because now your slot corner's on the wrong side, and so you only have 2 players on that side. Excuse me. But if they just call verticals, I mean, first of all, this seam is open, right? That's just an easy dot in the middle, but also the sideline could be open over the top if they weren't this close to the end zone. So it's like when they go from bunch right to trips left, not only do you have to flip your defense, which is a quick adjustment in itself, but then you can't run cover 2 against a trips, because it doesn't matter. They could wait on this if they wanted it down the deep sideline, or they could just throw the ball quickly right up the seam once your vert hook defender, crashes down. So it's really going to be impossible for you to play defense without quick adjustment if they know what they're doing and they're going from a bunch of different formations, back and forth. So really what we're going to see right here is I'm going to teach you quick adjustments because it's all new here in CFB 27. So what we're going to do is have them still audible to trick tight end. They're still calling it verticals. So first, like I just said, you have to flip your defense because your nickel corner, if you're running nickel, which I like running nickel, but you understand that you're going to flip with them. Every time they flip, you're flipping with them because you want your slot corner to be on the correct side. So that's what I do. I press X, or that would be square, and then I press right trigger to flip my play. So now my slot corner is back on the correct side. But now I'm going to quick adjust, because I can't, like I said, we're flipped now, which is better than what we were doing before, but it's still like this isn't going to be good defense. They take the snap, they could throw that pass right there up the seam, and you see that's an easy walk-in touchdown. So running cover 2 against a trips, for example, is going to be impossible. So now we're going to actually quick adjust our defense and turn this cover 2 into a cover 3 on that trip side. So we're going to, again, have them audible to trips tight end, calling verticals. We're once again going to press X and then right trigger to flip our play, but now we're going to quick adjust. So we're going to understand that pressing Y or triangle opens all of the adjustments for you on defense. So whether that's, your secondary, your linebackers, your defensive line. In previous years, you would have to press D-pad right twice to open your linebackers, D-pad left twice to open your D-line, and then Y or triangle twice to open your secondary. Now, it's just one button press to open up every single player on the field. So that's going to save you so much time here, but now we press Y or triangle, then we click onto our outside corner X, because he's the first guy I want to adjust. And then I'm going to put him in an outside third. Then I'm going to press Y or triangle again. I'm going to press LB this time to put my safety in an inside third. Then I'm going to press Y or triangle again. Then I'm going to press A. And then I'm going to put my slot corner here into a curl flat. So now we have a cover 3 defense in the field, which is going to be a lot better at actually stopping this verticals play. Now, the final adjustment I would make is man up Y, my linebacker, Woodson, on their middle tripped receiver so they can't hype throw that pass right up the seam. But now what we're going to see right here is this is going to be really good defense to be able to stop this play. Because now all I have to do is use this crosser, and it's perfect defense. I mean, obviously you could take away the running back as well with another defender, but it's like taking away their big play is now done because we've now quick adjusted our defense. We don't have a weak coverage. We don't have cover 2 out here against a trips, and then we also have their main threat manned up. So it's like, yes, that's going to take some adjustment and some button presses, but the better you get with quick adjustments, the faster you get with it, it's really going to help you out. Like, again, in previous years, in order to set this up, this would have been like 16 button presses, where now it's probably down to like 12, which every single button press is going to save you a lot of time and make it a lot easier for you to play defense. So overall, mastering the quick adjustments, pressing Y or triangle once opens every single player on the field, and then you can click onto them and adjust, which is going to save you one button press every adjustment you would have made. And so when you stack 4 or 5 adjustments in one, that's going to overall make your defense a lot better, and you're going to get quick snapped a lot less. Alright, so if you found that breakdown helpful of 5 defensive tips that are going to absolutely transform your defense in College Football 27, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be breaking down College Football 27 tips and tricks just like this every single day, all year long, and you're not going to want to miss out on any of the content I drop because I guarantee it'll help you get better. But if you're serious about transforming your defense here in CFB 27, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CFB University, where you can use code YouTube to get your first month for 20% off. It has my brand new 4-3 defensive ebook, which is super versatile and is perfect for every game mode, including Road to the CFP. You can save everything on your phone during gameplay, including the custom adjustments, the plays, the instructions, everything, and it's really going to transform your defense because there's also tips to go along with the ebook in CFBU. So I highly recommend you check it out if you're serious about locking down in your next game. And if you want to see 5 tips to transform your offense to pair with these defensive tips, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.